friends, welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. Today we're doing an Oracle deck review video and we are going to be reviewing the Goddess Oracle deck by Katja Perez. Alright, now this particular deck was gifted to me by the Quarto Group and I just wanted to say a very big thank you for sending this deck over for me to review. Alright, now in this video what you can expect, I am going to be of course doing a flip through of the cards that are in this deck. I'm also going to be talking about my own experiences with using it. I've been using it for about 6 weeks now. I've been using it for my personal readings. I've also been using it for the collective readings as well. So how I have managed to connect with this deck in my own particular way. And I'm also going to be sharing my own thoughts about how I've been using this particular deck so that it can be a starting point for you to see how this deck can align with your own goals as well. All right. And towards the end of this video, I'm also going to be giving you some tips that have worked specifically for me and some questions that you can kind of use for your journaling with respect to the energy of this particular deck. All right, now without further ado, I am going to be reading the back of the deck and the deck box, I guess I would say. And then we are going to shift the camera angle and then we're going to be doing just the flip through as well as me showing you how it looks, all right? Okay, so let's get into what the back says. Let the divine femininity, strength and wisdom of 50 goddesses from around the world guide you through this spiritual oracle deck with magical illustrations, empowering affirmations, and self-care rituals to refocus your energy and mind. The Goddess Oracle deck will uplift your spirit. Use as part of your daily wellness practice. Either shuffle the cards to pull a deity at random or find the right higher wisdom in the moment. From mystical illustrator Katja Perez. 50 goddess cards and affirmations with bonus sun and moon ritual cards, a 96-page booklet offering insights about each goddess with a mini ritual for spiritual self-care. This one is by Leaping Hare Press. It's a very, very powerful, very, very empowering deck. I can't wait to share more of my thoughts with you, all right? So we are going to shift the camera angle and let's go. Alrighty, so that is how the front of the deck looks. On the side, you have empowering rituals to channel your inner goddess. This is by Leaping Hare Press, and the author of this particular deck is Katja Perez. So the moment you open the deck, you have the guidebook that comes straight through. It is a full color guidebook, and the first part of this deck is about how to use this deck, and it also talks about using this deck for a reading, and then it goes straight into the goddess cards. Now for every single goddess, you have the picture of the card. You also have either a small story about the goddess that is important to channel her energy, or you have something that she is known for, like what is her power, all right? What is the energy that she exudes? And for every single card, every single goddess, you have certain keywords that you can associate with her. You also have a particular ritual that you can follow through if you wish to channel her energy. That's something that I really liked about this particular deck. Now let's get into the actual deck, all right? There is exceptional attention to detail in this particular artwork. I mean, there are a variety of goddesses from diverse cultures and mythologies, and it is such a wonderfully inclusive deck. I think that each card just radiates such a unique energy that reflects each of the goddesses and essence. And I also feel that the artistic style is very, very modern and timeless. And I, in particular, loved that I could connect with the energy. Like, even though, you know, we are in the 21st century, I was still able to tap into their energy. That's why I felt like the artwork was timeless. And I was able to relate it to certain things that I was going through in my life, certain aspects of my life that I really needed their power, their energy. So I really liked that. Now, in terms of the colors that are used, as you can see, it's just so fresh, don't you think? So vivid and so soothing as well. There are some particular cards that are very intense in their energies, and I think that the colors used for those particular decks are very aligned to the energy of that particular goddess. I also think that because of the exceptional attention to detail, this is a very, very intuitive deck. There are so many things, so many layers that you can tap into just by one image. And I think that it is very, very good for intuitive interpretation. As you can see, the cardstock is pretty sturdy. It's flexible. It has this soft matte finish. And I think that because of the colors that are used, it kind of gives like a very beautiful layer of luxury with each of the card that is out there. I think it also might have something to do with the background color of each of these cards as well. And overall, I think that this deck just doesn't represent the goddesses. I think that it invites you to tap into their energy, and I think that's where the affirmations come so well. I in particular loved the affirmations from this particular deck. I also think that the cards in particular, they're very, very thoughtfully written, not just the affirmation, but the guidebook as well. And I think, sometimes the reason why we have stories is so that you can remember. We are very, very attuned to storytelling. And I think that this guidebook helps you with that. Sometimes you might not remember what that goddess is known for, but I think that when you remember the story, then you're like, okay, that's how I can connect that particular goddess, and that's how I can relate it to my life. And I think that that's one thing that really stood out to me with this particular deck. So it's more like you're reading a story, but you're also kind of picking the essence of the energy of that particular goddess. And some of them include the history, the mythology, and also sometimes the specific energy that they embody. I thought that the information was very, very well written, very clear, very insightful, and most importantly, the rituals mentioned are very, very empowering as well. And I think that the guidebook in particular, it doesn't overwhelm you with too much detail, but at the same time, it takes you on the journey of tapping into that particular goddess's energy. The affirmations, of course, as you can see, are short but powerful. They allow you to connect with the energy of the card just immediately. I mean, even, sometimes you might want to use the guidebook, you might not want to. That completely is on you. But I feel that the affirmations by themselves are very, very comprehensive. For me, in particular, just seeing so much of power, seeing so much of energy in this particular deck, it was a very, very deeply spiritual experience and just very nurturing for me. Just having them, even if at that point in time I was not able to maybe tap into their energy because I needed some time to connect with their energy, it also kind of felt like I was being protected by their energy. And that was, like I said, a very deeply spiritual experience for me. So it can go two ways. Yes, this card is meant for you to tap into their energy and to embody that energy, but I also think that sometimes you might be looking for protection, and so that was another way that I connected with this deck. And that's just me, all right? Take that as it resonates for you. For me, I think that this offers guidance. It's very, very uplifting, but also very gentle. But just because it's gentle doesn't mean it doesn't have strength and intense wisdom. So I particularly found a very beautiful balance with respect to strength, wisdom, and just the gentleness of this particular deck. Now, I have been using this particular deck for personal readings as well as collective readings, and I found that I was able to tap into this energy for my personal growth, for emotional healing, and just, gaining insight into situations where I felt that I needed to tap into my own inner power or my own wisdom. And because some aspects of the guidebook are about stories, I thought that it was a different layer where I could see how that played out and see how it relates to my life. So I thought that that was another way that I was able to connect with this particular deck. Overall, I think that this is a very, very beautifully crafted deck, and it is a very empowering tool that invites you to just connect with the divine feminine. Of course, the artwork is stunning, as I've mentioned before, and there's just such a strong energy. Very, very inclusive deck. So if you're looking for a deck that is inclusive, that is empowering, that helps you with your personal growth, but is also gentle and is also very, very protective of you, because that's the energy that I felt from this particular deck, then I would highly recommend this deck, because there is such a beautiful spiritual connection that comes through from this deck. And I also think that there's a lot of empowerment that comes through from the wisdom of the goddesses. So the card that we picked out for this particular deck is Ixchel. It says, I embrace change and reflect inner beauty. Hold on, let me open the guidebook and let's see what it says, all right? Ixchel, Mayan goddess of the moon, weaving, and childbirth. And the key words mentioned, transformation, reflection, serenity, renewal. Serving as a guardian to mothers and a source of inspiration for weavers, Ixchel embodies nurturing care and creativity. Her affinity with the lunar cycle is seen as a vital influence on the natural world, particularly in how it affects life on Earth. She represents the essence of fertility and the perpetual cycles of nature. Representations of Ixchel often include the moon, highlighting her close relationship with this celestial body. Now, there's also a section about the ritual. Ixchel, the Mayan goddess of the moon, embodies transformation and reflection. This ritual is about embracing change and helping you to recognize your inner beauty. Gaze at the moon or a picture of it, absorbing its serene beauty. Contemplate a recent change in your life. So I think that the ritual is very hands-on. It's something that you actually have to work on after you tap into the energy, or even to tap into the energy of that particular goddess of the card that you've picked. I also think that the rituals are very, very grounded. Like sometimes you have rituals that, can seem long and intensive, and sometimes you might not either have the energy to do it or you might not have the time. I really think that this guidebook, in that sense, caters to, rituals that you can easily do. It's not going to overwhelm you, and it's something that you will feel naturally calm while doing it as well. And of course, you can often add your own layers to the rituals mentioned, depending on your energy at that point in time as well. So I found that this particular guidebook has been very helpful that way, and this particular deck has been helpful that way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 3 questions related to personal growth that you can relate with respect to this particular deck. All right, so you can pick a card. You can of course follow what the guidebook says, the ritual, but if you are looking specifically for journal prompts, then these questions would be helping you. All right, so the first question that you can ask yourself is, how can this goddess's energy guide me through my current challenges, and how can I better align with her wisdom? The second question that you can ask yourself, how can I focus on the outdated beliefs about myself? How can I release those in order to grow into a more authentic version of myself? Then the third question that you can ask yourself is, what lesson is this goddess on the card encouraging me to fully embrace right now? What inner strength is ready to awaken within me, and how can I nurture it? All right, so these are the 3 questions with relation to personal growth that you can use for your journals as you are tapping into the energy of this deck. Overall, beautiful deck for personal growth, emotional healing, and just, self-reflection as well. And also self-actualization as well, just because of the energy. Now, if you want a protective deck, this is a good one. If you want one that has infinite wisdom and strength, just tapping into the energies of diverse cultures all across the world, this one is a very, very beautifully crafted deck. All right. That brings me to the end of this review. I really hope that this provided a good starting point for you to see if this deck aligns with your needs at this point in time. All right. Thank you so much for watching all the way up until here, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.